Alright, so I bet a decent amount of people are screaming at me right now asking why I didn't pair Bardock with First Form Frieza. Well, it's straight up just because I personally think it'd be a better decision for Final Form Cooler, as he needs a release way more than First Form Frieza does at this point. Now, aside from being one of the rare instances Tamashii releases a movie character, Cooler is my second favorite movie villain after Broly and preceding Janemba. And personally, between Frieza and Cooler, I think that Cooler is just that much cooler. As much as I love Broly, Cooler was the first guy to just straight up fly through a Kamehameha wave and sock Goku in the mouth. Or maybe it's just because I was such a big fan of Jurassic Park and dinosaurs as a kid. Something about Cooler just screams reptilian-like kicker to me. Or maybe it's just the awesome face mask. Either way, I think we're long overdue for at least a prototype reveal of Cooler, and I, for one, am awaiting his arrival. Alright, so Final Form Cooler is of course from Movie 5, Cooler's Revenge, and while they could go the route of the third form for Cooler, or even Meta Cooler, I think his final form is just awesome. And I mean, if we reach a point where Frost is eventually released, then at least we wouldn't have three characters who just look like palette swaps of each other with minor differences in height. So with Cooler, I think one of the coolest details would be the amount of purple on this figure with the contrasting white. I think it would look dope posed beside Frieza. For the white on Cooler, I'd like to see a matted white akin to the kind used on Vegeta's boots, as I think this would make the purple pop more. Plus, if you look at Cooler in the movie, the white parts on him aren't shiny anyways, they're rougher and more opaque in appearance. Now as for the blue gem-like thing on his forehead and forearm, I think these are one of the spots where I'd like to go with a glossy, navy or ultramarine blue. Now for the purple, I think either a lavender or grape color would look dope, or even the same shade that Golden Frieza has on the top of his head, which would add a little bit more consistency throughout the line of figures. Now in terms of his scale, he needs to be taller than Goku, but I think he should be shorter than Broly. Now one thing I really like about the look of this character that I hope translates well into his figure form as well, is the forearm-like fins and knife-like tail. I think this just looks so menacing, and I would just love to pose this guy wrecking somebody. Alright, so with faces, all I can say is the faceplate, faceplate, faceplate. An unplated face with the smirk, maybe, but really, I just want to see that faceplate, damn it. Most of Cooler's expression in this case will come from his eyes, which I think is very cool, kind of like Spawn or Deadpool, and this would definitely be a first for the Dragon Ball Z Figuarts. Now for accessories, this is a release I definitely want to see the inclusion of a big energy ball with, be it the supernova or just a big wave of ki like the one he hit Goku with point blank. Cooler is all about massive attacks, and energy effects should be no different. If you put out a Cooler and don't include some sort of attack like this, you'd better follow it up with a separate energy effect that's actually worth the money. Aside from this, while not actual accessories in my book, he needs hands in the form of fists, blast hands, and grabbing hands. Anything else isn't a necessity, but again is not unwelcome. Maybe we could include another face for Awakening Goku. The one thing with Final Form Cooler is he's probably a little bit more top heavy, so I would hope that they give him strong enough hip joints to support his stance, as he actually does exhibit some wide stances in Movie 5 as well. I know this was a bit of a problem with the original Frieza, which often had to use a tail or a stand for backing it up. So Final Form Cooler, what do you guys think? In my opinion, if Tamashii was to only announce and make 5 more figures ever, I would still pick Final Form Cooler. Now, would you scoop them up or would you leave them out to freeze? Let me know in the comments below. Until then, I hope the best of your todays are the worst of your tomorrows. Peace.